With the season getting closer every day, Arsenal played a brilliant friendly game against Bundesliga champions Bayer Leverkusen at the Emirates and won 4-1. Now in this game, a lot of details were explained of how Arteta wants to progress the side and what players he is favoured to play in different roles. In this video, we're going to go through everything we learned from that game and what we could potentially see next week against Wolverhampton Wanderers. So let's get into it. Now first of all, the main thing that you got out of this game was that Arsenal are looking sharp and ready for the next season. Dominant 4-1 win against a team that went unbeaten for 50 games last season, obviously only losing one. And although I think that their goalkeeper specifically was quite poor, being their substitute, it was a very strong side for Leverkusen to put out, and we did well to dominate them at the Emirates. Now of course, I still don't think it's a full Arsenal team. We saw Zinchenko play at the start of the game, obviously Kivior and players came in, and obviously Calafiori is a bit jet lagged, not ready yet, and Timbers had a little bit of a knock, so he wasn't in the squad either. And hopefully if we can get that Marino deal over the line, you expect him to at least be within the squad by match day 2. Now first of all, the tactics I think are looking very good. Now it's very similar to last season. There is a slight adaptations in sometimes how we don't have the ball and how we press. Overall, I think we were the best team in Europe last year out of the ball, and I think in this game that proved that as well. Our off the ball work in this game was phenomenal, and of course the star man Kai Havertz really does help with that. If you don't know, Arteta obviously plays a system where instead of using his box midfield with the fullback inverting inside, which you see quite common, he often gets anyone in the pitch to be able to make that box midfield. So Havertz will come deep sometimes Trossard will come inside to create it, Havertz will move into that position, or you'll get the left back or right back do it, or even one of the centre backs push up into that position to sit next to Jorginho. This allows Arsenal to have the control that they want most of the game, and so eventually when they get enough pressure on the ball, they can get a 3-2-5 and control the game. Now the first thing I felt that was quite interesting in this game was actually Arsenal went down the left side more than they did the right, especially in that first half. Obviously when Saka came on, this changed a little bit, but with Vieira on the right, he didn't really have much effect on the game, and the left side space between Havertz, Trossard and Jesus I think was working really well, of course Zinchenko as well. It seems like them three have that connection together and they understand their movements off each other, and I actually do like Havertz and Jesus playing with each other, and I know it can cause some problems in before. And this is why I believe in this game that we learned that Havertz can play that midfield role. Now there's been a lot of discussion if he was meant to play that role or he only did it out of necessity, because obviously we had some injuries to Partey and other midfielders, which is always an argument, but I think he definitely has the idea, Arteta, that he could play in that role. In this game I thought he did it brilliantly. Arsenal have a lot of control in this game, and obviously we are very good when we have that control. We can dictate and move where we want to, and all of our goals were pretty much Havertz just making brilliant runs. The first goal, he makes a incredible run where he is actually being man-marked by the right centre midfielder for Leverkusen, and he just drags him into that position. This works because Zinchenko pushes up with the ball on that left side and Trossard comes deeper, forcing the wing back on the other team to go up with him. This creates a space in behind, which Havertz does brilliantly. We know he's a very quick player, very good off the ball, and this allows Trossard to react and come inside of the wing back before anyone can get there. Same with Zinchenko, and ends up setting up a brilliant goal in this situation. And it's quite clear that even though Havertz was playing in that left centre mid position, he is still very vital in pressing. Now this is something that definitely benefited us last season with him playing in striker, because he's a very good off the ball presser. In this game we didn't necessarily rely on him to be that far up, but he could definitely help. We had Jesus sort of shadow mark the goalkeeper, but also trying to make sure that they couldn't get it to the right side pass too quickly, so the centre back that's the closest to the goalkeeper. And when they tried to play it in the hole, when Xhaka came deeper for Leverkusen, Havertz would be very quick on him, and obviously this ended up winning the ball back for our second goal, in which he does brilliantly to win back, because not only does Havertz continue his run to press the goalkeeper, Trossard is in behind him and understands that he needs to follow Havertz up, and he presses the midfielder and we win the ball back. Overall, this was a much better performance in that midfield spot than we've seen Havertz do a lot of last season. And one of the other players that I thought really excelled was Trossard next to him. Trossard and Havertz seemed to have that connection of when to press together. They always stuck together. Trossard would come deeper, Havertz would continue his running behind, and they kept playing off each other so much. There was many times where Havertz would go out and play on that left side and Trossard would cut himself inside. So it's more like they had a fluid role within with each other rather than a set position, which overall really helped us. It really helped us get a lot of control down that left side. And you've got to think, when we get people like Saka, who's going to be consistently playing on the right, it will give us so much more balance that we're able to do this on either side. And I've been quite critical of Trossard. I think he had a brilliant season last year, but obviously he's a player that's very good or very bad. He's not an average 7 out of 10 performer. He's even a 9 out of 10 or a 4 out of 10. But we know he definitely definitely has qualities, and if he can play like this at the start of the season, he definitely warrants a start, although I am excited to see Martinelli this year. Now, I also thought players like Jesus looked quite sharp, and I thought Jorginho was good at times, and obviously the defence was solid overall. It has to be said, we have to talk about Alexander Zinchenko, a player that has been written off by many people, including myself, I will say that. And after Calafiori has now joined, it looked like the spaces from the team were going to even deteriorate for someone that wasn't getting in that much. Now, we know that Arteta does prefer left footers, that's why he got Calafiori in, and Zinchenko originally is a good player. Now Arsenal aren't necessarily adamant on that Zinchenko inverting role because we play a fluid box midfield. He could definitely come in and help at times, but we need him to create whips sometimes and be brilliant on the ball, which he definitely was in this game. I loved his movements. I felt like he was way more aggressive going up on that left side than we usually see from him. And ultimately, I don't know what it was, but he just felt so much more aggressive in this game than I've seen him before. His passing was really good, 4 passes into the final third and 21 passes out of 26. But it's also the fact he had 2 shots and 1 more duels than he lost by winning 4 and losing 1. Now, he didn't do the most things in the world, but I think overall he was very comfortable there, and I think it kind of is the direction that Arteta is going to go in, at least for the start of the season. And now obviously Arsenal have played a lot of players over this period. Obviously we're still missing some players to come back fully. Declan Rice came on in this game, but we need him to be fully fit, and hopefully new signings will get integrated as well. And although some of the youngsters were still within the squad in this game, such as Josh Nicholas and Aiden Heaven, 2 players who have been in the youth team actually stayed with the team to train since the US tour, and that is obviously Ethan Nwaneri and Miles Lewis-Skelly. Now, I've done videos about both of these guys, and I think it is evidently clear by watching them in this game that they're both going to be very important this season, or at least going to be very important for the future of Arsenal. They are the new era of the team. Miles Lewis-Skelly is clearly getting pushed into that inverted left back role, which I think makes sense for him to get into the team, at least for the start. They just look so good. They look so comfortable on the ball. I really like how they both, especially Lewis-Skelly, is really good at shielding the ball away from players. He uses his strength, his power very well, I think, in good situations. And they're both just individually brilliant on the ball. They can make some really good incisive passes, and I honestly think we could sell Partey and give these 2 a go. I know we're going for the league, so maybe not, but these 2 are really special. I think they could already play a decent amount of minutes this season. And you can definitely tell that they're both pure midfielders. They're so good at creating on the ball. I mean, Lewis-Skelly is a proper good defender. I think he's very physical. I really like how he uses his body. And Ethan nwaneri, for his technical ability, is also very good at that as well. They complement each other amazingly, and I think Fabio Vieira's time at the club may be looking bad if he can't fit in a spot when you've got players like this coming through. Now, obviously, it's early days. It is a friendly against a very good side, but obviously you can't take this with too much. But how you play tactically, you can look at, and how the team is set up, and I think we are in a really good position, of course, to go into the season. I'm still expecting more signings and more sales to happen, but overall the team's level right now is so high even without them, and I think with youngsters coming through, with the players like Havertz, who eventually later on in the game moved up front, and you can see how effective he was there, we've just got many options to play. And when we've got a whole team fit and ready, people like Timber and Calafiori can come in, I think we're going to get even better. And of course there's still some red flags. I think Partey looks a little bit off. Obviously Jorginho's can be pressed quite easily, but as long as we can make sure these problems aren't necessarily that bad or not seen as bad, then I think it could be better for the future. I would do a prediction on Arsenal's team against Wolves, but I want to do it closer to the time. Obviously we've got another friendly coming up against Lyon, and I want to see what we do in that game. Hopefully we get to see some new players come in a little bit more, but we'll have to see. However, I do expect the team that we play in that game to be more similar to this team than any other teams we're playing in pre-season, just because I think Arteta is getting down what he likes right now. And obviously you can have different players come in different moments. Obviously people like Tomiyasu are still out, and I expect him to maybe get into the team when he's fit, because I know Arteta likes it. Thank you guys for watching. I will be trying to do daily content from now on, as the season is obviously ramping up again. So let me know what you want to see, what players you want me to look into, and what sort of tactics you want me to go in more in depth on. Also let me know what you're expecting this season. I want to see expectations for the Premier League season for Arsenal down below, and what did you think about this game? Who impressed you? Who would you like to see more of, or who were you not exactly that happy with? I'd love to see your feedback in the comments. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.